FSU fam mode, what it do? It's your boy Polk County Noel, and today we have a special guest. Polk County Noel Jr. and our mascot, Renegade, yeah. So y'all see Renegade, and you see Junior. Kicking it with me. In front of the Christmas lights. Got the holiday spirit going. Thought that was a good thing for today's little show, seeing as FSU might be getting a lot of presents this big recruiting weekend. We've gotten some presents this week. Man, there's a ton of stuff that happened this week. Ton of news. A lot of stuff I want to go over, man. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Get your big nose out of here. Yeah, man, we got a lot of stuff to cover, man. I had a hectic work week. So, that's kind of why we're here. Hey, man, come on, get out of his face. Hey, Gabe. We don't want you in his face. Move. But yeah, man, I had a hectic work week, but I'm glad the week kind of turned out the way it did because I was able to digest a lot of what's going on, wait for certain things to sort of transpire so I can cover them better and give my better opinion on them. And, what's up? And, really, let's break down what really happened this week. A lot of things to go over. I want to start with the big topic. I think probably the biggest topic of the week was the decommitment of 4-star dual threat quarterback out of Jacksonville, Florida, Jeff Sims. And so it was pretty well covered that once Norvell took the job, he got on a plane and flew to see Jeff Sims. I believe Jeff Sims was like the first kid he went and met. If not the first, one of the first. He's not bothering you. Stop being mean. And yeah, Jeff Sims, he met with Coach Norvell. I believe it was an in-home visit. And the residuals of that meeting was the decommitment. Jeff Sims decided he was going to decommit from Florida State. There's a lot of speculation on did Norvell tell him he wasn't a take? Did Norvell go all the way to his house to tell him he don't want him? Everybody on Twitter knows Jeff Sims and knows Jeff Sims' cousin, baby, mama, daddy, sister, grandma. So everybody has an opinion, and so do I. I don't claim to have any of the inside sources that some of y'all may or may not have. My opinion is I think Norvell doesn't see a skill set in Jeff Sims that he sees in some of these other quarterbacks that I'm going to talk about that he's considering as takes. I don't think it has much to do with a pro style versus a dual threat, and I'll go over that in a minute. Bro, can I talk? Can I talk? Can I talk? Thank you. I think that Jeff Sims, just from a passing standpoint, doesn't fit the bill. So FSU loses Jeff Sims. When that first happened, I'm not going to say I was crushed. I wasn't crushed, but I was like, why is a 4-star quarterback not a take? For a program that hasn't signed a quarterback 2 years straight, we needed that, to be quite honest with you. I've been on the record. We need to keep Jeff Sims in the class, or we needed to. And we failed at that. And it almost seems like Norvell made it very clear that it would be best for both parties to part ways. I think that's really how that conversation transpired. I listened to Michael Langston on War Chant. I'm not the biggest fan of War Chant these days. But Michael Langston is a guy that, as far as recruiting goes, he's always had my respect, and I've always seen him as very credible. And he's reporting that it was pretty much a mutual conversation between the two sides that was probably in Jeff Sims' best interest to go elsewhere Norvell's pretty much made it clear he's not just, I think, I don't want to make this anything about the Taggart era, but one of the things that seemed to be a trend with Willie Taggart was him offering, for whatever reason, one quarterback and almost promising that guy we're not going to recruit any more guys. All last year we had Sam Howell as a commit and didn't offer any other quarterback, and that bit us in the butt. Here we are this year. The whole year we have Jeff Sims as a commit. Don't offer any other quarterback. Now, I believe if Willie was here, Jeff Sims would. I don't think Jeff Sims was ever gonna decommit. But you see what happens when you just focus on one guy. You're not giving yourself a chance to build depth and build competition. One of the things about me, if a kid's not willing to compete, I don't want him on my team. And I'm not saying that's Jeff Sims. I'm not saying that. Am I funny? Yeah. But I am saying that seemed to be Taggart's sort of formula when going with these quarterbacks. Not only does Norvell seem to be the polar opposite, but he seemed to have told one kid, you don't really fit what I want to do. We should both part ways. Only to, now let's get into these other quarterbacks, only to get a commitment from Tate Roadmaker out of Valdosta, Georgia, 6A school. 6A Georgia football is known for being extremely competitive. 6'4", 190, senior stats, 3K yards, 42 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 42 rushes, negative 13 yards. Obviously, prototypical pocket passer quarterback. With those stats and numbers, and I believe he won a state championship. I'm baffled as to why he's only a 3-star personally. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand 3-star status. And then, so you would come to that conclusion of, Norvell wants a pocket passer. Doesn't seem like that's the case either. So if you're not tracking, there's a blue chip quarterback on campus right now as we speak by the name of Chubba Purdy. Now, that is a hell of a name, Florida State. I don't know if we're going to pull this kid or flip this kid. If I had to guess, I'd probably say no. A kid like this, I don't know if a kid like this goes to Florida State in that new atmosphere on a whim. I'm not saying it's impossible. But he's a dual threat, rated higher than Jeff Sims, 6'2", 210, but he's a dual threat. He is not a pocket passer like Mr. Tate Roadmaker. So that's very interesting, in my opinion. When I first saw the decommitment of Sims and the commitment of Roadmaker, I assumed, okay, Norvell wants pocket passers. Well, no, doesn't seem like that. Went out, got current Louisville commit Chubba Purdy. Man, I love saying that name, Chubba Purdy. But yeah, he's on campus right now doing. They're gonna do whatever they can to do to flip him. He's actually crystal balled to Kansas State, so he's currently committed to Louisville. Crystal balled to Kansas State. I think so. That might be in FSU's favor. Maybe he doesn't quite know where he wants to go. I would assume he's not going to be a early signee if he's still on the fence about where he's going to go. So FSU might have time to make that up. The bad part is he's taking his official visit now. And if he's not going to be an early enrollee or early signee, he's probably going to get his last visit at Kansas State or Louisville. So, yeah, we don't know how that's gonna go, but that's a key thing to watch. Chubba Purdy, that's crazy. So yeah, so watching the QB board sort of play out over the week got me thinking that he just wasn't too enthralled or enticed with what Jeff Sims had to offer at the quarterback position. And I think he wants more consistent throwing. I don't think he's against a mobile quarterback, obviously, but I do think he wants a guy that he can rely on in terms of his throwing. So we'll see how that plays out in the quarterback scenario. We got one quarterback commit. So you lose Sims, but you replace him with I think it's a good prospect, especially from a physical, from like a measurables standpoint. Like that's all about as prototypical as you're gonna get. So yeah, both guys, I think they're being recruited by offensive coordinator Kenny Dillingham, which brings me to the segue of the coaching staff. There's been some big announcements on the coaching staff that I think are worth talking about. FSU offensive coordinator Kenny Dillingham, former Auburn OC. Now, what does that mean? I don't know what it means. Quite frankly, you go from Memphis, where you coach under Coach Norvell, who calls his own plays, to Auburn under Gus Malzahn, who calls his own plays. Only come back to Norvell. Obviously, he has a tight relationship with Norvell. You leave Auburn for Florida State. That's a lateral job. You would almost actually say it's a downgrade. Not trying to throw shots at my school, but Florida State offensively has been, where Auburn hasn't been great, but Auburn has Bo Nix. They have some stuff to build on. And but he wants to coach under Norvell. And then you have defensive coordinator Adam Fuller, Memphis DC, which I think that is, like, I don't have a question mark against Dillingham. I'm not even sure how much, obviously his relationship with Norvell matters, and him knowing what Norvell may want, not want to call, those type of things, the chemistry between coaches. I think Adam Fuller is a good defensive coordinator, and I think I'm excited to see what he does with the talent level. Regardless of how down you think FSU is at this point, there's a talent gap between Memphis and FSU, and I've been very interested to see what he does with the talent that he's going to be coaching. Remember, next year, you're getting Lars Woodbay back. Hamsa hasn't announced yet what he's going to do. I would hope he comes back. You're getting Kando back. So you got some young guys that we didn't even get to see. What you doing, man? Did my lights cut off? It looks like it. Don't look like it, Chico. Those lights are on. But yeah. So there's your offensive coordinator. There's your defensive coordinator. Some other good news. Dugans and Odell both are on the coaching staff. I made it very clear, if I was Norvell, those were the two guys I think you had to keep. Not only because they're former Florida State players, so I'm biased on that account. Mostly, though, you need somebody to recruit the state of Florida. Dugans he's from Miami native, so bingo, there's your Miami recruiter. Odell obviously recruits the whole state of Florida. So, I mean, when it comes to recruiting, Odell's pretty much a legend, especially in Central Florida, Polk County, more specifically. So it's plus that we get to see Dugans and Odell staying on the staff. I thought that was key, and Norvell obviously agreed with me that keeping those two guys were key to going forward. What else do we got? Man, got some things I really want to touch on, but I don't know where I want to go. Let's go with Tamarion Terry has been endorsing Norvell, talking about Norvell's love for the receivers. He has not announced. Let's break down Terry for a second. I like Tamarion Terry, and I think from a measurable standpoint, from an athletic standpoint, you got something special there. How special? I don't know. But he's an NFL talent. He needs to come back to Florida State because I don't believe he is a first-round talent yet. I think he'd go to the combine and he'd test great, but I'm not sold on him being a first-round talent right now. I think he could use, remember, he's only a redshirt sophomore. He's only played 2 full years. I think he could use that third year to really get the scouts' attention because he's been too inconsistent in his college career. And I saw somebody put out Tamarion Terry is the second best wide receiver in the last, I think it was like 10 years at Florida State. And it's a debate. So obviously Rashard Green would be one on that list. The real debate is between, Kenny Shaw, who was a great slot receiver, but Jameis made everybody look good. KB, those are the two I would debate. And I'll give him the nod over Shaw just from a physical standpoint. But once Kelvin Benjamin had figured some things out, that dude dominated. That dude was dominant. I don't know if I'd put Terry over KB. Both are wildly inconsistent. KB was a redshirt sophomore when he decided to go pro. You can see KB obviously had just motivational issues, I guess if I'm saying that right. Worth ethic issues, obviously, because you see when he went to the pros and became constantly coming in overweight and so on and so on. I don't think Terry has those type of issues, but he does have what I think are maybe lapses in concentration. And so, yeah, both. I think KB might, at this point, I think Benjamin may have been a better football player. I think Terry has the greater upside because work ethic doesn't seem to be a problem with him. So, yeah, I want to touch on Tamarion Terry. I thought that was a good breakdown. I think it's good that he's endorsing Norvell. And I hope he chooses to stay because I think from a development standpoint, he needs it. Next, let's talk about, we're just going to keep it rolling, man. Okay, let me get ready for this one. You ready? You ready, Junior? Let's get ready for this one. I think even Renegade out there ready. Look. Let's talk about it. Warren Thompson saga continues. Now, I called out Durden on my last video, and I thought he well deserved it. And in that call out, I also mentioned Warren Thompson as being one of the problems. So Warren Thompson came out this week. First he shows a video of him practicing again. Then he's tagging wide receiver coach Dugans and he wants FSU fans to let Dugans know Warren Thompson wants to play in the bowl game. So I'm about to go in on Warren Thompson, good and bad. Here's my thing. Let's start with the bad. We'll end up on a good note. You quit on the team because you weren't happy with your playing time or whatever the conversation you had with the previous head coach didn't go your way. You decided to quit. You quit on the team. We all go through adversity. Listen, especially in in my current line of work, there's a lot of shit that happens that you're not a fan of, but you cannot fail your person to your left and your right. And that's what you did. You quit on your team, your brothers, your friends, because you were unhappy. And then you get your mother involved in the situation, or your mom's on social media putting Willie in a casket, calling him out all kinds of ways. Pretty much calling him a flat-out liar and that he led your son astray. Okay, cool. And that may have been the case, but you didn't handle it right. And at the end of the day, you quit. You threw your pads down and said, I don't want it no more. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm glad you came back to the team, but you ain't playing in no bowl game. See you next year. Get a clean start with this coaching staff. Work hard, and maybe you'll see the field. But you ain't. If I was calling any shots, if I was his position coach, if I was Odell, Warren Thompson don't see the field. Not against Arizona State. He don't. Sorry, you quit. So you quit this year. Earn it back. That's the problem. These kids think they can just do what they want to do. They can just quit, throw down their gear, and leave, and then all of a sudden come back when they want to come back. Man, you got the hiccups, man. So yeah, you quit. Sorry. See, now what I like is you're back with the program. You're trying to ingratiate yourself back with the fan base, trying to probably show Norvell some good things. I understand all that. You obviously had a problem with Willie because now that he's gone, you're back in the fold. I understand that too. You got a new head coach. Listen, I'm glad you decided to come back. So you didn't totally quit, but you quit. The Warren Thompson saga continues. As far as I'm concerned, you quit. See you next year. If you don't enter the portal. Because I don't know when you'll quit again. It almost seems to me like if Dugans don't let him play in the bowl game, I wouldn't be surprised to see Warren Thompson decide to transfer into the portal. Because you quit once, things don't go your way, you just up and quit. No, I don't want to see that. So, yeah. Let's see how he handles adversity. That's one of the biggest problems with the team has been under the last 2-3 years. They don't handle any kind of adversity well. When things get hard, they quit. And Warren Thompson, you were the embodiment of quitting. So, prove your worth. You come back strong next year. I'm rooting for you, but you quit this year. Sorry. Tough love is what some of these kids need. Anthony Grant announces his comeback next year. That's great to hear. So, if any of you have any knowledge, I still don't know what happened to this kid this year. All they ever said was he was missing games for personal reasons. I don't know, did he not qualify? Was his grades bad? Was he serving a suspension? I don't know what happened to Grant this year, but he did get on social media, announced next year's comeback. Maybe he had a problem with Taggart. I don't know. I don't want to make this about, again, I'm not trying to make this about Willie. I just find it interesting, that now he's announcing his comeback. I'm glad to hear that. Again, we need it. I mean, that's a good segue into Cam Akers has announced he's going pro. Not a surprise there. We wish Cam all the best of luck in the pros. No hard feelings on Cam going pros. He needs to go pro, quite frankly. But now back to Anthony Grant. That leaves a running back room, as of right now, Laybourne, Anthony Grant, Toafili. If Toafili, stays committed. I said earlier, I don't think Laybourne, I have a feeling. Again, me personally, I don't have inside sources, none of that. I just kind of look and evaluate. I have a feeling Laybourne, because he's suspended for the bowl game, if I'm not mistaken. You will not see. So we don't have a scholarship running back for the bowl game. We have Sheffield, who they moved from receiver to running back, and it'd be interesting to see how he's going to be the one of the guys that have to carry the load. The Laybourne ain't going to play. Now, I heard Laybourne was practicing, but last time I checked, he was suspended. So unless he did, took the necessary steps to lift his suspension, we ain't going to see him. I don't think Laybourne is on this team next year unless Norvell convinces him to stay. I think this Laybourne has had a tough time at Florida State. Really talented kid, where he's redshirted, where he was notably frustrated with his red shirt his freshman year. Gets in the Virginia Tech game, has one of the great plays you'll see. Like, he was shaky, shook the whole VTech defense, didn't touch the ball the rest of that game. Gets hurt the rest of the season, and comes in this season, we thinking we might see a two-head monster of Cam and Laybourne, and we barely saw him. He just had a tough time at Florida State. I would love for him to come back and just have that stellar which I believe will be his, it'd be a redshirt junior year / senior. You know, he'd be there 4 years. That'd be his big year. I don't know. I think Laybourne may decide to move on, but I hope he stays. I'm not saying I want him to move on. It's just a hunch I have. But yes, Grant announced his comeback for next year, so that's a big deal. We don't have a running back room, so we need all of that. I mentioned earlier, big recruiting weekend. FSU's got like every recruit that matters on campus this weekend. They've got Brian Robinson on the campus. It'd be great if FSU could pull that guy's commitment. They've got, I mentioned Chubba Purdy. Chubba Purdy, I love it. They got him on campus, which he seems to be the big fish. I believe I saw reports that Mojo was on campus this weekend. He recently decommitted, and everybody thinks he's going back to Florida. That one hurt me. I'm a Lake Gibson Brave myself, Lake Gibson Brave alumni, and I really wanted him. I think he's a sleeper talent. I think you get that kid, in the right system, and he's gonna shine. I guess that'll come out of if he can click with Adam Fuller or not. I'm pretty sure he has a great relationship with Odell, but he did decide to decommit, and then he listed a final 2 of only Tennessee and Florida. Florida State wasn't even listed, but I heard he's on campus. I would love for him to come back to the fold. Big country. Josh Griffin, he recently decommitted and committed to Louisville. Yo, bro, what's good? What's good, bro? Decommitted, then went to Louisville. Hey, where you at? And but he's on campus. I even saw pictures of him and Odell. Maybe Florida State flips him back. I think Florida State really wants him. He's a 3-star. So it's a big recruiter. Man, come on, bro. You're messing up our swag. You're messing up our swag. Big recruiting weekend, man. FSU's got a ton of targets on campus, a ton of former targets. They're still current targets, but some former commits that they're trying to reflip. Hopefully, Norvell Gibson. Cheap. Renegade, he don't want you licking him. Dang. So they're working hard, man, to get these commits back. Big recruiting weekend. We'll see what happens from it. Right now, only got Tate Rodemaker. I keep calling him Rodemaker for some reason. I think it's just pronounced Roadmaker. I keep calling him Rodemaker. I don't know. Rodemaker sounds better to me. Kind of slips off the tongue. Other announcements. Yeah, you got some announcements? Huh? Other announcements. Hornibrook is no longer with the team, has decided to work on going pro. Wish all the best to Hornibrook. Not ever sure. He was brought here for numbers, and he just never quite fit with the FSU want to do offensively anyway. I, at one point, thought he was a Bryles guy, only to end up thinking he was a Willie Taggart guy the whole time. But once Bryles was calling the shots on offense, we never saw Hornibrook again. So, he's going to work on going pro. Good luck to him. Hey, we're about to, Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. D-Jack is no longer with the team. He's going pro. You ain't making it pro, but hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Goodbye, dude. Dontavius Jackson. It was nice while it lasted. Not really. Terrible linebacker. Good luck to you in your future endeavors, my friend. Seriously. Pretty sure he's a good, smart, young kid. Wish him nothing but the best in his life. But I'm glad you ain't putting on that spear, on that helmet no more. Whew. Yeah, man. And, man, that's it. 30 minutes strong. really covered everything I wanted to cover, man. Just a quick recap. Sims gone. At first it was a big deal. I'm leaning towards it not being that big of a deal. I think I forgot to go over this part. I will criticize Norvell on this. His presser, he made it clear he adapts to his players. Players don't have to adapt to him. So I do find it a little concerning that you have a talent like a Jeff Sims and you can't find a way to utilize him. But then again, that's just me That's just me kind of reaching, because we don't know if that's even the case. He may have just told Jeff Sims, "You won't be the only quarterback take. I'm going after 2 or 3 more guys," and maybe Jeff Sims just decided. I'm not saying Jeff Sims doesn't like or want to compete, but maybe he just decided, yeah. The other guys were telling me I might be the day one starter, and here you are telling me you're recruiting 2 or 3 other guys. I'll probably take my chances at a Georgia Tech where everybody's saying he's the heavy lean, and I'm pretty sure Sims goes into Georgia Tech as the day one guy. So I get it, but yep, Jeff Sims decommit. 6'4", 190-pound gunslinger, Tate road maker. Commits to Florida State. Florida State hires offensive coordinator Kenny Dillingham. We'll see. I don't have any negatives to say on any of the staff moves. I actually like the Fuller move a lot. The Dillingham one is just, it is what it is. Norvell has a guy that coaches under him that he's comfortable with. I'm for it. They still have to fill out the rest of this staff in terms of running back coach, O-line coach. Like, there's a lot of holes left. But he's got the 2 big pieces, and I'm pretty sure they're working on the rest. Dugans staying, Odell staying. The Warren Thompson saga continues. Sorry, my friend. See you next year. Grant announces next year's comeback. And big recruiting weekend currently on campus. A lot of guys Florida State really needs to kind of flip back and man, it'd be very interesting to see if they can flip a guy like Chubba Purdy. Remember that name, Chubba Purdy. You heard it here first. I think Florida State gets this kid. Again, no inside sources. I'm just going out on a limb. Normally, I wouldn't say that because normally these kids build relationships with coaches. But Chubba Purdy, man, I'm going out on a limb. Chubba Purdy replaces Jeff Sims as the bell cow of the class. Akers going pro, Hornibrook going pro, and Tamarion Terry endorses Norvell, and hallelujah, 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 he's gone. DJ is gone. DJ is gone. DJ is gone. All right. I'm at 33. I got one more thing to cover. I forgot here in my notes, but I just remembered it. Trayshawn Harrison has entered the transfer portal. Big deal or no deal? I'm going no deal. It makes sense first and foremost, it makes sense. The kid came all the way from the West Coast of Florida State for one reason. Willie Taggart was like, a father figure to him. So you came to Florida State to play with Willie Taggart. Understandable. I'm not mad at you for that. What I get upset with is when these kids get on these social media platforms and they want to start bashing the program that you're at. But as far as I'm concerned, goodbye, Trayshawn. Good riddance to you. You were as inconsistent as though you were supposed to be what Keyshawn Helton turned out to be. Keyshawn Helton turned out to be twice the player that you are, with less stars than you, and people weren't even recruiting him. Keyshawn Helton is a better football player than Trayshawn Harrison. Period. Point blank. You were supposed to be Keyshawn Helton. Instead, you're Trayshawn Harrison. Keyshawn Helton's better than you. So, yeah, you didn't pan out. Wildly inconsistent. How many drops did he have this year alone? Never really saw the burst everybody said he had in high school. Like, again, I think Keyshawn Helton just turned out to be a better football player. Yep, he announced his transfer, and man, I keep remembering things. DeCaleb Brooks announced his decision to transfer from Florida State, and that's okay. You're the son of a legend, and you always will be, and your father will always be loved. And I, quite personally, DeCaleb, don't dislike you. I even think DeCaleb has, again, you have to go back, you have to watch the football games. DeCaleb Brooks isn't a bad football player. He's a small football player. And a lot of times, DeCaleb Brooks is one of the few linebackers who were in the right spots. He just was too undersized to make the tackle. At 5'10", 190 pounds, he was never big enough to make an impact on the field. He couldn't shed blocks. He just didn't have the. He was never a Florida State D1. He's not even a D1 talent. He's just not, and you can see it. Excuse me. Just not a D1 talent. Really had no business at the school other than the fact that your father, is an FSU legend. So, we about to sign off, y'all. Signing off from Hawaii. It's the Polk County Noel with Polk County Noel Jr. Always remember. Oh, hold up. And Renegade. Hey, where you going? And Renegade. And always remember, man, comment. I got a ton of comments on my last video, man, and I loved it. What I consider a ton, because I don't have a huge channel. But got in some great conversation with some guys, man. So continue to comment. 99% of the time, man, I comment back and we have a conversation, because I'm with that all day. Even if you don't agree with me, dog, I'm with the debates. I'm with it, So please comment. Always, if you like what you're hearing from me, man, like it. Subscribe to it. Got some new subscribers, man. I appreciate y'all. Share my videos if you think other people would be interested in my opinions on what I gotta say. But we all knows over here 24/7. That's what we covering. That's what I'm talking about. I've considered doing other topics, but you know what? I gotta take care of my core fans. And my core fans are my day one riders. Y'all are my day one riders. Y'all here for some Florida State talk. Y'all ain't here for nothing else. So that's what I gotta do. That's why I'm gonna take care of y'all. The video game stuff that you might see on the channel, man, that's just me having fun with some friends on the weekends. Just fun. It's fun stuff like that. Yeah, man, comment, subscribe, like it, share it. Even if you don't like me, you gotta like him. Just comment, subscribe, and like and share for him. Ain't he cute? Ain't he cute? Hey, this is the Polk County Noel, man. And we out here.